And we're live. What I heard at Phoenix Fan Fusion Star Trek. Today, episode 260 of Trekland Tuesdays Live with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, coming at you right here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47 for some clarity, sanity, and the big picture in all things Star Trek, or in most of them anyway. It's hard to be omniscient, these days, especially. We've got so much Trek and things are opening up again, and I'm actually on the air a day after, wow, counting travel days. What was it? 6? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 very long Memorial Day weekend days over in Phoenix for the first time since 2016. And yeah, that other franchise was having its big deal in one of the orange counties. Um, oh yeah, they had it at Starfleet Academy this year. It was very nice of them. There were lots of things going. Obviously, it was Memorial Day weekend. People were distracted. But for the first time since 2016, I was happy to be back at Phoenix after having been there several years. It's now called Fan Fusion. It's a great convention. They, like everyone else, are rebounding. And I had a great weekend. I want to tell you about it. But first, if you are new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, welcome. You'll have to tell me how you found your way here. But you will see, if you haven't already, that there's a great chat going on. Everybody is signing in saying hi. I urge you to do the same. If you just want to lurk, that's totally fine. And hey, if you're watching us later on YouTube only and not live, I invite you to come and watch us live. If you're on Facebook only, you will see only Facebook, but Twitch and YouTube, you'll get all the chat, okay? I'm going to do a little soapbox commentary here, and then we'll take a tiny break. We'll do the Parent Analytics TV streaming ratings for the states, and then I'll be back and really dive into the chat, okay? So, Twitchers, don't worry. I'm not ignoring you. We'll get there. It's just the way I am. It's just the way we do things at TTL, okay? So, yes, diving in, another week of Strange New Worlds, another week of it feels like universal acclaim and deep breathing. And as I said last week, it's an echo of the Wrath of Khan. And now that's more like it with an awful lot of people. And that's a feeling that now that's more like it is a lot the way people felt in Phoenix. Now, this is the year that's unfolding. I saw the Doctor Who con here in LA, Gallifrey 1, had to miss a year. A lot of conventions had to miss 2 years that they were summer cons. I've got SoonerCon to look forward to down the line. But right here, first up in my view, that's the end of June in Norman in Oklahoma City metro area. It's a very good regional con. I suggest you check it out. It's going to be a very special one for me this year. But here's Phoenix, where we had some miscommunications and they had some turnover as they came back from the pandemic, Square Egg Productions. But worked it out, and had an awesome 3 days instead of 4. People are a little hesitant, clanking back up. And if anybody was there in the chat, make sure and pop up. I don't know who's around during the day that was there because we had Portales. We gained a new Portale. I was very happy for that. And the convention had fan mixers at night in convention space on Saturday night with banquet rounds and cash bar. And it was just a simple way if you were new or you wanted to sit quietly or not so quietly and catch up with fans or meet new fans. And I had no idea what to expect. I thought it might go down like a church dance, thinking, there might be 10 or 12 really, really desperate people in there. But actually, there were 80 really did. No, I'm kidding. It was, we're arguing over how many there were, between 60 and 80 folks in filling up the banquet rounds, and had music going. And I did a few little events. It was great. And that was kind of the tone of the whole weekend. Now, I got into the confirmation system late. So from my panel time, stage time, I jumped in with Dr. Dave. A lot of you know Dave Williams from Arizona State, works on a lot of NASA-related planetary missions. He's been a Portal 47er since the beginning. He'd pop up here more often, but he's working, teaching during the day. But he had his United Federation of Phoenix, which is a club that goes back to 1975. It's one of the oldest Star Trek only clubs in existence, if not the oldest. If Star San Diego is still going, it might be the only one older. And he let me crash 4 or 5 of his panels over the weekend. And just the panels, which were all show based, basically. He had some science panels too, with varying numbers of people on the panel, but they were all very low key. Now, Phoenix, to Phoenix Fan Fusion, to their credit, were wound up with 4 Trek guests. They had Kate for a very long Saturday, came in from New York, Anthony Rapp, and Tim Russ, and and Doug Jones, who never had a line that was not standing in line. I think he was the busiest guy all weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't get away to go see anybody's stage shows, which made me mad because I was hoping this would be small scale enough that I would do that, but it was just hopping and busy. At the panels, meanwhile, the relative attendance was, I thought, a nice barometer. It's almost like taking a poll, taking a hands up poll in the room. So part of this was affected by time of day. Some of these panels were in the middle of the afternoon. Some of them were at 6 and 7. So it's dinner hour, and people, the pool was naturally lower. So I should note that. But just to tell you what's going on here, the relative, I think the lowest, we had a tie here. The lowest turnout was the Prodigy panel, which was from 3 to 4. And we had a lot of fun. We had some fun bits in there, as I will tell you in a minute. And the Discovery Seasons 3 and 4 panel had about 30, and it was 6 to 7, so dinner hour time. Then the Picard Season 2 panel had about 48 people. That was at 6 to 7 also. Then we jump up to the Strange New Worlds panel, which was at 7:30 to 8:30 on Saturday. And even then, we had 56 happy people. What else? The next biggest was a look at all the classic Treks, which was smack in the middle of Sunday afternoon. So Sunday's the down day, but it's middle afternoons. There you go. The biggest panel turnout, it was mid-afternoon on Friday. Have you done your subtractive logic here? It was Lower Decks. We had about 100 people for the Lower Decks panel. So whatever kind of thing that math tells you, again, you had variables there. But that was just one thing, since we started keeping track, and we had the same, there was the same core group in charge of all, or organizing them. That was it. The mixer, at low of 50, I was thinking it was actually more up to 60 or 70, but that was a good turnout too. And people that hung for a couple hours. Last hour, it kind of ended. But from 9 to 11, that was good to see. I met a lot of new folks over the weekend. These are just some early numbers and what I heard and saw at Phoenix Fan Fusion. To start with, don't ever count out your table. I made the comment about Sunday. You all know, you've been to cons. Sunday starts to die off. It depends on how urban versus commuter everybody is. Are people having to fly for Sunday planes? Are they having to drive 3 hours back home? Do they live in town? Yada, yada, depending on, what the logistics of the con is and the geography. Well, I, an hour before I was shutting down, like literally about 4 o'clock on Sunday, guy's walking by, sees the Trek File banner, does a stop. He's wearing a Marvel t-shirt, but it's a Comic-Con, right? So, it's a Comic-Con. I go into them with low expectations, knowing that only a sliver of all these bodies are going to be Trek. They'll either be Trek solo or Trek will be in the mix. So we get a lot of cross-stream t-shirts coming up to my booth, to a Trekland booth. And that was TJ. And he talked for a minute and got interested in the tours and the podcast, and then Portal 47. He got into the drawing. We were striking up a conversation. We were talking about the current shows. And the talk got around to, well, yeah, Discovery, blah, 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 Picard. And then I said, well, what do you think about Strange New Decks? And he said, oh, Strange New Worlds. Did I say Strange New Decks? Strange New Worlds, I believe, is the name of the show. Because we said, yeah, Strange New World. He said, it's funny. Used to be it took 2 seasons to make a good Star Trek series. Now it takes 2 series. And I lost it. And I thought, yeah, Mr. 4 o'clock on Sunday dropping by with your Marvel shirt on. Don't do that. And so my booth mate, I should mention, all weekend was the great Thomas Brown from STO, Star Trek Online, who just saw 4 of the game's ships, mostly his ships, made canon in Picard. So all the tech heads, all the canonistas are excited about that. All the STOers were excited to see them canonized, which is interesting. I keep waiting for the non-Trek people to hear that and say, what, they're saints now? We have saint ships? Saint Ross. But we were talking about ships, and he perked up again. Now, Thomas wasn't there at the moment. He was doing his last panel. But he perked up again, and I mentioned his booth right there, and he should come back by in a few minutes. And I said, yeah, did you hear about the 4 STO ships? He said he gamed. He said, did they do the Norway? Which, to start off with, is a deep cut, because the Norway is one of the 4 original CGI, all CGI starships from First Contact, when that was pioneering and new, right? The Steamrunner, the Akira, the Norway, and the one that has the book, not the Sophie, anyway, the other one. And I said, well, they had the Akira and the Steamrunner had been used on the show. And he just looked down again, and he said, no love for the Norway, which twice in 3 minutes, aside from it was the end of the con, I was just dying laughing. But it was a deep cut. And if there's any franchise, if there's any passion, if there's any fandom and franchise that we have to say this again, it's, don't judge a book by its cover. He knew his Trek. He knew his deep cuts in Trek. And I just died laughing. And he moved away. He stepped away. He had gone on his merry way. Not 5 minutes later, Thomas came back, and I had to share all this, especially the Norway story. And Thomas said, well, there's talk. A few months, he hinted that there might be some love for the Norway after all coming down the line at some point. Gosh, I hope I didn't spoil that. And what's funny is, not an hour and a half later, when I had packed up and was rolling my overstuffed bag out to the parking structure, lo and behold, I'm crossing a street, and there's my friend TJ. And I got to tell him, at least in passing, that A, he missed Thomas by 5 minutes. Could have bent his ear a little. And B, that we all had a good laugh about the Norway. And about it takes 2 series to make a good Star Trek series now. Yeah. Now, at one point in one of the panels, in the Prodigy panel, as we were doing just Q&A toward the end, the best question of the weekend popped up, because I'm technically going to say TJ's weren't questions. They were statements. And it was so good, I had to tweet this. I tweeted it out, and I made sure to tie in the brothers Hageman, Dan and Kevin, and good Aaron Walke, who you should all be following, all of them, if you're halfway a Prodigy fan. And if you're not a Prodigy fan, Aaron is such a great Trek fan that he's going to be popping up all kinds of places. And also Ben Eben and D. Bradley Baker, because someone popped up in the audience and said, all right, who would win in a fight? And I rolled my eyes, because I just love these who would win in a fight questions. They're so 80s fanish, but okay. Who would win in a fight, Murph or the entire Klingon Empire? And we all died laughing. I remembered that one for later on, got it tweeted, and lo and behold, the brothers Hageman retweeted it. But of course, good Aaron had at good Aaron is Aaron J. Walke's Twitter. You should follow. He saw that and piped back up, and he said, remember, who would win in a fight, Murph or the entire Klingon Empire? And he said, Murph is indestructible. After a fierce battle, the Klingons would share a moment of Tovadok and acknowledge him as a fierce warrior and as one of their own. Another person in my Twitter stream said, I'm just saying, the House of Murph, I'm just saying, they will sing songs. It was that kind of a weekend. I saw tons of fans. Now, at that fan mixer, I think if you're on my Instagram and probably Twitter and Facebook, but especially the Instagram, I popped up. There was not a lot of Trek cosplay, a lot of people in uniforms. That's cool. But I didn't see a lot of out there Trek cosplay. It's a Comic-Con. I get it. When I do see it, I try to stop, make a comment, thank somebody. When I see just regular Starfleet uniforms, I think it throws people because they're not used to being complimented on their Star Trek uniform at a Comic-Con. But I try to stop and say, looking good, Starfleet, or way to represent Starfleet, or looking good, Lieutenant, something like that. But I first walked into this mixer Saturday night, right past the cash bar. I did a double take. And if you're on my Instagram, you saw. It's only been 4 episodes in, and here is, the pictures have been out, sure. But here is a guy and a young lady cosplaying Pike, and he had the hair, Pike and Nurse Chapel. And she had put together, now it's a month in, a year from now, don't critique this, but she had the two-tone, the pattern whites. They had their boots. And it was just shocking. And I walked in, I saw them from the back at first, but I saw that two-tone white with the diagonal contrast, light blue pattern, whatever that is. And I thought, oh my God, it's Pike and Chapel. And they turned around and smiled and looked startled. And then I told them not to go away because I wanted to take a picture after we got settled in. And I did. They were pretty cool for just being on the run cosplay pics. I realized at that moment that I hadn't seen a lot of cosplay. And yes, they were uniforms too. But they were like 4-hour-old uniforms. Good on them for jumping. You always love it and admire it when some fan jumps in and cosplays something, even if it's rough around the edges because they did it in a hurry. When they cosplay something that's just been out. Now that's fan devotion. So imagine my surprise after I made a kerfluffle about it and took the pictures, and I think they were a little nonplussed, but slightly tickled. As we were going away, I said something about how many cons have they gone to? Do they do this often? And it was their first convention. The two of them met at somewhere where Star Trek came up, but it wasn't a convention. Both of them fans. Neither one was patient for the other one. They were both fans. And it's Corey and Nicole. And they got a lot of love on my Instagram. So then somewhere else, somebody was starting to pick it apart. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's a month into the show. Just celebrate the fact that somebody was repping Strange New Worlds, and it was Pike, and he had the hair for it. And Chapel, because she looked like Jess Bush. And but the outfit, I was like, oh, good deal. And a year from now, she can keep tweaking it. But I was very impressed with that. And I just hadn't been all weekend, saw all kinds of great stuff. Another young guy in our lower decks panel was the only one in the room that had a lower decks uniform on. And you know how proliferative they have become. But he had a jacket on, and we wound up going to a fun evening thanks to his promoting some kind of a bar event for Quarks that night. You may have seen that one also. So yeah, that mixer also, we had some door prizes. I had some fan set pins for people. Everybody had it was just a simple drawing. In hindsight, it wasn't my event. I kind of got into it. I saw it, and they popped me on the guest list or the participation list. Maybe a little more structure would have been good, but it was meant to be a very laid back evening, and good on them. I've not seen other Comic-Cons, much less, fan cons obviously would have something like this, but Comic-Cons where you've got multiple genres and having different rooms in various guises suited for a franchise, and doing it on the run. I want to say a shout out to the Trek organizer, Jackson Porter, who kind of single-handedly tried to come up with fanish things, knowing that it was people's, the Phoenix area. They have another fan con coming up called CocoCon. It's small and old school lit-con-ish. It'll be a few hundred people. But for something that had the numbers and the gravitas and the structure to handle bigger pools of people, that was kind of out there for them to try and do that. So good on Jackson, and all the best thing to them as they go forward. the way all the conventions are trying to go forward. One more thing I want to mention that I heard, and this weekend was so great. I had so many people coming by telling me that they appreciate. I've had more people come by and say they watched Trekland Tuesdays live later, which I thought that was like 7 people. How do we not get that video? How do we not get that YouTube number up? Everybody, go tell all your friends to subscribe. But more people tell me they appreciated that. They appreciated that we had Trekophiles come by. It was very nice. Not swarms and droves and mobs, but steady streams of people. And it was very affirming. Saturday night, in the middle of all that love and feedback, and sitting next to Thomas was great. And in that arena, because the Trek folks all came by that way. One guy who wound up winning one of our door prizes came over and said that he really appreciated the TNG companion. And then he told me just a little bit more than that. He was obviously mixed heritage. He said he was Hispanic and also Black, that he grew up in the hood was his term. And he said it wasn't always the best life. He had friends, but he'd never had any geek friends. And his family life wasn't the smoothest. He didn't have anyone to share his inner geek with as he grew up during the Next Generation. And he talked about basically at night, he had a portable TV or whatever, and he would get in bed and make a bubble, his own subspace bubble, his own warp bubble. And he bought his own copy, his own blue copy of the TNG companion, and would get in his own bubble. And he said, I could shut out whatever was going on in the world, or the people that I knew but didn't know me. He said, whatever the problems were, or the lack of friends, if I felt alone in my geekness, he said, I had the show, and I had my bubble and me and your book. And I've had people come up and thank me for doing that. It's kind of odd. It's something you get. It's wonderful. But the more the people's age gets younger than your own as the years go by, it throws you a little. But I love it. I accept it. I know what Bejo's Concordance, and I know what Stephen Whitfield Poe's Making of Star Trek meant to me, and to everyone that worked on the fanboys and girls that worked on the TNG Berman era, much less today still. What Franz Joseph's technical manual meant. So I understand the feeling. I totally know the feeling. But this was just a little more than that. And he, he's now up and going. I forget what his job was, but he's totally fine. He's got a partner. He's hooked up. He's doing it. He was there at the con. He was enjoying himself. And he just wanted to come by and tell me that. And it was a good kick in the butt for me, because when you do nonfiction books, when you do histories and you do interviewing, and you worry about how many microns that rank braid is from the bottom of the cuff, supposedly. It's why I enjoyed doing Life Support Live with Dr. Ali for those couple of years, and why we're not giving up on the brand. We'll revisit it from time to time in some form and fashion. But it made me kind of, once again, front and center, that even though I'm not a ship guy, not a ship guy, a shipper guy, and of course I know the positivism and the futurism and the aspirational and the representational appeal of Star Trek. And I said it when Leonard died, that was just all a given to me. Well, yeah, it's Star Trek. That's what Star Trek is. Okay, now let's go do the cool stuff. Let's go organize those planets. But it was a good in my face. I don't mean in my face. I mean subtle. He was very soft-spoken. Funny, but soft-spoken. I'm talking about in my own face, in my perception. It's a thing to remember that even a silly nonfiction catalog-y kind of making of book, the kind of thing that inspired Mike McMahon to parody it, which he's told me himself lovingly, that same kind of feeling also does have a softer side, and it does have a mental health side, and a get through the daily crap of life when you need to side. So for all the folks who, enjoy the fiction and fan fiction and the shipping and the essays on the psychology of Mr. Spock for the 19th time, much less any other character since, good on you. And for the folks who find solace and peace and, yes, companionship with their companion in book form, because it's all about the background of the show and how they were made and what's going into it. It was really a moment. It made me really stop and connect two dots that I don't think about connecting. So I want to thank Gabriel, and I want to thank Corey and Nicole, and I want to thank the guy with the Murph question. I want to thank TJ. I want to thank so many random people. I don't know if it was just in the juice and the ether, because people hadn't really gathered together in big. Now we've had Vegas last year, tentatively, weirdly. We've had 2 or 3 cons, but for so many people I saw last weekend, it really was their first time to get back together, and in a mass, en masse. And a lot of the folks in our panels said that too. I should thank Mahib for wearing his Lower Decks jacket that one day. Anyway, it did not go unnoticed. And I hope wherever you are looking safely at your comfort zone. And hey, I have a Portales who lives in Phoenix who is still not comfortable about being in large crowds with the virus still out there. And I hear you, long COVID. I was maskless at my table, but whenever I had to cross the room, go to the restroom or go to a snack stand or something, walk through crowds of people, and whenever I came in and out, I had a Trekland mask. But you've seen them. They're still up at TeePublic if you want to get one. That was me. But given all that, it was a lovely, lovely, lovely weekend. And getting to see Thomas and getting to see Amy and all of our folks in Phoenix and folks who traveled for it was a lot of fun. I'm going to do my routine test tomorrow. I feel fine, but that doesn't mean a damn thing. Aside from being a little croaky from talking for 5 straight days, it was fine. Plus, I got to see my old best bud, Kevin, in Phoenix. And that made it all the better. Okay. Yes. I don't know where you are with your local con or your mask situation, or you're long past it, or you're still being cautious or whatever, but hopefully things will stay on that track wherever you are. I know overseas, the big news was Destination London was canceled for all of our Brit friends and some Europeans. And a lot of you on here today are up in arms about that. Maybe we get into that in the chat too. I heard that one. People came up to me in Phoenix and asked me if I had heard about Destination London being canceled. So we are slightly more global minded, even if it doesn't feel that way, I know at times. But as you look forward in your fandom and you get back together and you enjoy Strange New Worlds, I just want to remind everybody that I've got SoonerCon coming up, and then hopefully we'll have some FaceTime at San Diego Comic-Con, and we'll be at Vegas for sure. And then we'll see what happens after that. But apart from that, there's tours, the tour bubble. People are discovering the location site tour. I've been at it for 6-8 years now, off and on 10 years, actually. My own and with Geek Nation Tours. So just so you know, August 2021, a 2-day Great Bird Origins Tour, the life spaces of all kinds from childhood to adulthood and death. For Gene Roddenberry, see the places where Star Trek was created in the DNA. If you want to check that out, go to LarryNemechek.com. It's on my page. In fact, there's a new 4-bar site, because the weekend after that, the week after, is Vegas. And the day before Vegas, you can catch our 1-day Valley of Fire tour that we go out to the Kirk Death site and a few other fun places that have to do with Star Trek. That's a Geek Nation Tours job that I lead. That's Wednesday, August 24th. You can go to LarryNemechek.com and get info on that and the tours coming up next year. If you're a cruiser going on the cruise from LA, the official Star Trek cruise, you want to know about the organized tour I'm doing the day before you disembark. Here's where I also want to, of course, give a shout out to our Patreon folk, our TTLers, Diana Hopkins, Robin Wilson, Lawrence Todd, Anne Marie Siegel, Keith Rombach, Justin Porteous, Nathaniel Robinson, and Blaze K. And our live wires, of course, Rusty Harrell, Halbert Gunn Johnson, Robert McLean, Alan Hoansey, J.R. Poole, Byron Bailey, Dave Gregory, Gay Clevin Lindstrom, and Casey Shafsky. If you're interested and you want to help me out a little bit, I got a simple Patreon, patreon.com/TreklandLive, $5-10. I still need to serve the $10 folks their interviews. We will get it done now with a little breathing room. I appreciate that. We're about to make another tech leap here as soon as I get my stuff together. Hoping to do that now that we're into ending our fifth year, starting our sixth year. Right. Starting our 8th season, or midway through, is the Trek Files. This week, who was this week's guest? Oh, yes, Carrie O'Quinn, the legendary Starlog producer or publisher and editor. And he produced some events and some documentaries, too, I should say, at the Trek Files, talking about him and his memories of Gene Roddenberry, who he knew personally, obviously. The Trek Files on Facebook, that's where the documents are. It really is files, or podcast.roddenberry.com. Every Tuesday at midnight, you got it. See, we call it a Tuesday twofer. This live stream and the podcast are all up on Tuesday. But otherwise, it's Larry Nemechek on Twitter. And please, if you hadn't, subscribe on YouTube. Larry Nemechek's Trekland. That's what it is you're watching. Wherever you are right now, it's the same. We need to update the Twitch channel. Yes. Take it off Life Support Live and have it be Larry Nemechek's Trekland. Portal47.net. We just brought in our latest portale over the weekend. Shout out to Brian. It's like a minicon all year long. And there is so much Star Trek, not just the new Star Trek, but how does it relate to the old? And what are the new dynamics we got going on? And what's going on in the world and the business? What's not going on in the business? That's everything we do in Trekland, as everybody knows here. So if you are watching us later, you really should. You really should try to watch us live if you can. I know some people work during the day. Most people work during the day. But if you ever get a chance over the holidays on a summer break coming up, try us out on a Tuesday afternoon. Those of you who are live, though, you know what's happening. I'm going to take a real quick break here. And then we'll be right back with the Parrot Analytics. And I will dive into your chat. All right. But first, if you're leaving us, please stay healthy, do all the things. Stay woke, check your sources. And trek well, everybody. All righty. All righty then. For once, I'd love to get these cards ready for the second go-round. Let's see what's up with the parrots. If you're watching us new, and if you're new this week, I hope you sounded off in the chat and let us know and said hi to everybody. We have such a great community. This week, the Parrot Analytics, which is a company out of New Zealand, but they've been here for over 10 years. In the States, they have a metric they developed called average demand expression, which is looking for the expression of demand as seen on the internet. Every nook and cranny, no matter who it comes from, fans, critics, the producing studios, and the retweets and the reposts and the memes and the you name it's. They do that for all shows since the commercial model doesn't work. It's moot with streaming shows. So the Nielsen's and all that's pointless now for non-terrestrials. They do measure the terrestrials and the digital streamers all together, but they also break out the digital streamers separately. And this week, as they measure everything now as a factor of the most average popularity show. And they're doing this in all the countries, but we look at the American numbers. They're on their site under the Insights tab, parentanalytics.com. No big deal to me. You can go see it also. Yes, to answer your question, Strange New Worlds still is in the top 10. It feels like it's found its niche. Stranger Things is number one. Boom. Big, big splosh there as they come back. 101.2 times more popular than the average show. Then Mandalorian, Love, Death, and Robots, which I was introduced to over the weekend. It's like watching the animated film festivals of yore, little short animates back and back, only now streaming. Our Flag Means Death. And then here we are at number 5, Strange New Worlds, 32.6. Now, the week it overlapped with Picard leaving, they were both in the top 10. No Picard this week because it's fallen off. It's not hot and fresh, obviously. The rest of the top 10 is Moon Knight, The Boys, WandaVision, Bridgerton, and The Witcher. Bridgerton just came back or had a sort. So Strange New here is 32.6. It had been 35, 36. So a little bit of the bubble maybe off, but it's still very much in there. When you look at the overall, there's only 2 digitals in the overalls. SpongeBob is number 1 as usual, 70.8. Wait a minute, that makes no sense. If Stranger Things, excuse me, Stranger Things, I was looking at last week. Stranger Things is number 1 this week among all. The Mandalorian is the 10th show. So from 101, a drop down to SpongeBob. So it's beat SpongeBob and Saturday Night Live out of the top spot. Then Better Call Saul, Game of Thrones, still Breaking Bad, Simpsons, Attack on Titan, Sesame Street. Mandalorian, number 10 at 37.4, meaning I don't know what the other terrestrials were, but you would think that Strange New in the overalls might be near maybe the bottom of the top 20 or just over the line into the next 10 in the top 30 at least. So looking good, looking very good. Now this is this week's number, the factor number, 32.6 times more popular. When you look at these trending lines, as we can find, over the last 30 days, it is 27.1 times. So that shows this week is higher than the average. So it's obviously trending up. In fact, in the last 30 days, the demand for Strange New is up 203%. Well, duh, from premiere, word of mouth, word of digital, word of social is really popping it up. It's cooled off a little bit in the last week from the first initial spurt, but it's doing amazing. It's in their outstanding category, which is the top 2.5% of all shows. Guess what's still there also? Picard's 30-day trend is still in there. It's a 29.1 on the 30-day average. It's down a little bit because it's getting away from its premiere. It's plummeting, but it's still more popular than 99% of all the other action adventures. And even Discovery is at 16.9 on a 30-day. It's way past its season finale. It's still in the outstanding. It's got an uptick the last 60 days, 5% more over the 60 days when it was off and not. Prodigy is at 11.1 on its 30-day, still outstanding. And Lower Decks is 12.5 over its 30-day trend and outstanding. None of those shows have been dropping new episodes. And what that says to me is you're not depending on obviously it's not the foamy number, where Strange New Worlds is now, but there's a steady base. People are rewatching and other people are finding it for the first time. So we'll see if that lays a groundwork on all these series. If that lays a groundwork for, yes, when we get Prodigy back, we get Strange New Worlds, when we get Lower Decks back. And Picard will have a PR bonanza with the original cast, all part of that. So I'm not too worried there. But there you go. But that's your parrots. That is your parrots. I'm just curious. I will also announce, everybody, I have madly got to finish my column. So I'll tell you all. And if you're watching later, this will be a moot point. But if you all can get me something, tweet me, Facebook it, whatever. You could leave it here. But if you've got a background or a canon question from my Dead Tree Media column, Fistful of Datas, in the magazine, in the official Titan magazine now, that I have done since 1998, which sounds very scary. We had the 20th anniversary a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic. If you've got a canon, dot connecting question, and you pop it in here, okay, maybe I'll answer it here. But do that, or better yet, tweet it at me, Larry Nemechek, or leave it on Trekland Tuesday, on Larry Nemechek's Trekland on Facebook. But get it to me, and we'll use it if it's good in print, which is forever till your mom throws it out because you went to college. So let's see who we've got. Let us see what's going on. Hey, Cairo, Nuke Nick, Julan True, hello, Peldor Joy, back at you. Boom. And hello, Anne Marie and Jason. And if I start doing everybody, it's gonna get crazy. But hello, Zabaria. Is this your first time with us on a Tuesday? You missed us. Are you going to be there at Phoenix? Well, yay. If you're new to us on Tuesday, welcome. Welcome. I hope you hang around long enough and didn't give up on me because you were in so early. But let us know where you from. Is it Phoenix area and you couldn't get to the Fan Fusion? Let's see. Yes, Christoph. Sorry, DSTL. DSTL, Destination Star Trek London. There is another franchise? Exactly. Hey, Steven. Tex Trekkie is going to be at Trek Central now, folks, I think, unless something changed. Okay, Carl, loudest lurker ever. Just saying. Hello, Galen. Thank you again for jumping in. You're the latest Patreon, I think. Oh my God, Timothy Martin Earls is in the house. Everybody, one of the legendary art staff, illustrators, set designers for Voyager, and now on Picard. One of Dave Blass's. That should be a movie where they round up all the old art veterans for one last mission. Well, that sounds a little morbid. I'm not trying to depress you, Tim. I'm just, but it's good to see you, man. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you hung around and popped up before I circle back. Let's see. Always glad to see you, man. Let's see. I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, what are you saying, Christoph? Once, I'm missing the thread here. Once there was a Stargazer convention at Wembley Arena where people with tickets were informed on the doorstep that the company went bust and the convention won't happen. Yes. Once there was the Generations 1 and 2 conventions, and the Generation 3 was at Wembley, and it was bust, and the doors were changed. Brent showed up. He was a guest. They'd paid his hotel and his air ticket, and he showed up to the thing, and he was locked out like the fans and other guests were. Yeah, so sorry about that. I didn't go on and on about Phoenix to rain on anybody's parade there across the pond. Rain on your parade across the pond. Sorry. About those headlines happening. We've all been through a lot, and having seen the community, seeing the actors, and, it was a Comic-Con, so there were a whole spectrum of signing guests. So there we go. Thank you, Linda. Yay, Portales. Okay. Hey, Di. You were missed, but I met all of your kitties. What are you saying here, Galen? You learned something new this week, new to you. Bill Prady, who wrote Big Bang Theory, wrote a spec for Voyager called Bliss. But it's not the Bliss episode. Oh, but you knew Bill Prady was a huge Trek fan, which is why there were so many Trek influences. Sorry, now I feel like I should look this up. How did you hear this? No, stop it. Scintillating video. Scintillating video. He did. That went right by me. Of course, I haven't waded through the weeds. I haven't waded through the weeds of Voyager. But thank you for sharing that. He pitched the story for Bliss. That's interesting because of the kind of story Bliss is and the kind of story you normally think of Big Bang and these other series. Thank you, Galen. That's a good one. I did not know that. I'm sure I would have stumbled across that. And back in the day, in the 90s, Big Bang wasn't a thing. Who knew Bill? He was an up and coming, working his way up the ladder writer. That's why it's fun to go back and look at old credits. You never know what's going to turn up. So thank you for that. I now too have learned today. TIL. And you guys have been conversing about it. Of course, you guys talk about liking it or not liking it. Whatever it was he originally pitched might or might not be the thing that got to screen. I'm looking at you, Larry and Janet, in Prophecy, or it might be just a tiny kernel. Okay, Captain Calvin, your one question? One question? Okay. You heard about Las Vegas and the Rat Pack, and one of the members of the Rat Pack was Irving Lazar. Was it that Irving Lazar, or is there another dude running around having that name? You're talking about Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra's Rat Pack, not Jeff and Vaughn and Casey and their Rat Pack. Okay, because I'm trying to connect this to Star Trek. Was an agent. Swifty Lazar. I mean, I know I've heard the name, but I couldn't connect it to anything. He was an agent for 1 billion people. He even represented Nixon when he had to do things after. He was executive producer on Neighbors and The Thornbirds. I don't. I don't see any connection. Are you sure that's the name? Irving Lazar, that I know, was an agent, not a performer. So I'm confused, which is what I knew, but I wanted to double check something there before I did that. Yes. Strange new text. I mean, was that Freudian or what? I guess I've lost the trademark now since it's out there and going now. Strange new decks. I think Thomas would appreciate that one too. Yes. Hello, Sophia. I hope things are well in Portugal. Our ships. This is what I mean, Johannes. Our ships beatified before they're canonized. Norway's CGI was lost. Well, it would be so antiquated from 96 that it would need a new pattern anyway, and heaven forbid, since there's a wholly new detailed Shen Ho, or the Inquiry class. Saber. Thank you. It was Saber. But isn't one of the Saber ships from First Contact the USS Sofia or Bulgaria? There's something Bulgarian about one of the Saber class ships. Who loses a CGI model of the ship? Now, Alex Yeager's mom said, Alex, if you'd put those CGI ship models away, you'd know where they were next time you wanted them. Hey, David, good to see you, sir. Coming in from YouTube. You should go right on lurking while you work. Tuvaduk. Is that the Klingon word for blood wine? No, Tuvadok. It's the stare of two opponents. It's from the Worf in the Dominion battle camp. It's from the Klingons can be hostages that I saved. Klingons can be hostages. There's hope of escape. Yeah. Although, just to be sure there, Jennifer, and hi, Jennifer, it's Murph on Prodigy is spelled with an F, probably to get around trademarks, I guess, or have be a more distinctive thing. Worf, Worf, son of Murph. There you go. Okay. Thank you, Diana. Thanks for supporting and checking in and out. Mobs, the next time a DST announcer canceled, there might be a mob. Yes, exactly. Hey, Marina, it was great to see you. Wonderful to spend the week at the con with friends. And you had, thanks to the hurricane, or whatever the hell that was, you had more. The storm front. You had an extra half day or something, I take it. Yeah, Sophia, I don't expect beautiful stories often in Trekland. Because there's plenty of people who do beautiful stories, the feel-good stories. But every so often, once in a while, the big Trek book for you growing up was the Encyclopedia from the Okudas. There you go. Obviously. Absolutely. John, there is no such thing. We do not collect tardy slips. There is no DNA list here. When I was a kid, the DNA list was do not admit, not diexonucleic acid or whatever it is. What is this, Carl? You remember going through several dealers' rooms wishing that you'd find the thrill of discovering a nonfiction Trek book that you didn't have yet. I'd love to have more books. I know, and you're a collector. And those obscure self-printed ones. Yep. Those info books, the nonfiction from TV from the 80s and 90s were your jam. Thanks for being part of. Oh, there you go. It was my jam too. First thing about, I remember thinking, it's funny, you're in a bubble, and when Star Trek finds you, and you're in the bubble at first, and you're there for 6 months or a year, and then it's easier now. We have online fandom, but back in the day, you had to physically go places. You had to find a convention or find a club, or at the very least read about it in a book, and you had to find your way to the books that were about that were about like Star Trek Lives. And the idea that people's first grab in Star Trek was to write more stories about the characters, that was like a to me. It's like, oh, okay, I guess. And then I very quickly found out I was in the like 5% minority versus the 95% that wanted to do more stories. It's like, oh, okay, I'll just sit over here in the cover with the corner with my apparently 8 other friends nationwide that someday I may meet in person. DST, Destination Star Trek, the now infamous official European Trek convention that just canceled the September-October gig in London and tries to refuse refunds, only having vouchers. There were threats. Oh. Oh, and here's the the Facebook story. Yeah, Marina, this came up. We were talking on Friday, I think it was. Yes. Yeah. The British Nadim. Hello. Hello. First Tuesday, maybe not, but hello. Thanks for joining us. British Trek fans are crying in their Earl Grey currently. I know, you guys have been beat up a lot this year. It's, it's like if you'd ask me, I think I could have told you, but the world has gone so global. Those national boundaries just seem like annoyances now. But in a lot of commerce, they're still there. Either the government's put them there or the source studios put them there. And it's a fact of life that is awesome. At the same time, maddening and sad that so many people around the world just think of Star Trek being global. when it's put together by an American corporation that looks for global partners. But it's an American corporation. And it's just like most American cars are built here first, and then they trickle around. Is that an accurate? I don't know. But when I see this happen, I'm like, yes, because it's still a commercial enterprise and everybody wants goodwill and good PR. But when it comes to numbers, it's still I don't know, 3/4, 1/4, 75-25 game, 66-33. I don't know. But, oh, good. Hey, Rusty. Yeah, SWC. I thought Southwest Conference. Wait, that's dead. That's where my brain went. Is that what it goes now? I guess celebrations 4 syllables and a lot of letters. But absolutely, as you should. Good to see you too, man. And glad you're safe. You don't get Paramount Plus, so Prodigy's late. S&W at the end of June. The disco debacle of last year. Yes, it's tough being a Trekkie in the UK at the moment. I do hear you. And as you all know, the actors and the show creators are totally sympathetic, and none of this is in their hands. So at the very least, I hope nobody is trashing on actors or anybody from Alex Kurtzman on down. Because they're, as we have seen, and with the crazy scheduling, even the scheduling that happens, they're at the mercy of what the studio is telling them to do. Indeed, and fans who had the honor of announcing that canceled con at the closing ceremony of the previous one are receiving violent threats or lying. That's crazy. Yeah. Hello, Rose. Glad you could see your way here. Good for this. Oh, thank you, Scott. Boom, there's the GR tour. You can even see all 4 of them. We did a graphic. You can see all 4 tours lined up. Plus, of course, always, you don't have to come to an organized day tour or days. You can, if you're in LA, you can set up your own. TreklandTreks.com, or see the link on my homepage too. But thank you, Scott, for running that. Oh, what are you saying here? DST being canceled just makes you happy you booked STLV right away. Yes, which will be an experiment this year at Bally's in a new home. Yeah, and the cancellation of DS2. Hey, Jason. How come no one is talking about Star Trek Day yet in September? Too early. Gosh, Jason. Can we get through all the summer cons first before we hit Labor Day? Yes, it's probably too early. Or will people have event fatigue from the summer by then? No. Well, it depends. Do they try to make Star Trek Day a thing, either New York or LA? There's no Picard now, so I have this feeling that everything's going to slide back to New York, damn it. Or different places. Maybe they'll go with the Reed Pop model here and hop around different cities. It's going to be in Memphis. Star Trek Day is going to be in Memphis. No, Star Trek Day is going to be in Bozeman. No, wait, that would be First Contact Day. Star Trek Day. They ought to have it in Canada because the first episode was aired 2 days before Star Trek Day in Canada. Yeah, it wasn't September 6th. It was September 4th in Canada. But that's why no one is talking about that. Let's get through Vegas and Comic-Con. They'll do the studio. P Plus will have a big show in San Diego, I am sure. Just because they want to be there with all the other boys and girls from the franchise table, as we say every year. U.S. rental car rates in August and September make me think over what you want and can't afford in terms of vacation or STLV. Well, that makes sense. I mean, the airfares have gone insane, and that supposedly is over the oil situation because of the Ukraine invasion. It's not a war. It's not the Ukraine war. The Ukrainians had nothing to do with it. And you will be on the Trek cruise, Jared. Awesome. It's a pity creation can't take over the cons here in the UK and Europe. Showmasters really needs to go now. Too many mess ups over the years. They've all had their good and bad. They've all had their high points and low points. I don't think there's any silver bullet for any of these events. They're thankless. There's many ways that they're thankless because you're dealing with a venue, you're dealing with a franchisee, you're dealing with fans, you're dealing with individual actors and other talent. It is a nightmare and a headache. No matter how many years you've done it, there's always some new thing to wrench up the works, like your hotel gets remodeled, or you lose your license, or your license comes back. There you go. Maria's Con Queen. She'd let you know. Yes, yes. And there is more Trek to wrangle than ever before. And we're coming out of COVID lockdowns. So this will be the first year that things actually do get to blow up, apparently. Fingers crossed. Oh, John, you need to go to a big modern con. Hadn't been to one since 1993. Saw LeVar at a small one in 2020. That's another thing I saw at Phoenix Fan Fusion. Somebody told me they had not been to a con since 1995. There you go. What are you saying here, Nadim? Rumor has it was Paramount that pulled the plug on DST because of poor sales. That's only because everyone was leaving at last minute because last year's lies about the guests attending. Okay, well, I have not had time to dive into this, but I'm sure that truth will out eventually in some shape or fashion. But whatever the reason was, the thing is the thing. There's also the question about, I know some people were talking about shooting schedules and all of that, and the pods in lockdown, and will there be another wave, which seems like that should be a minor thing, but trying to gauge for September and being overly cautious with actors, I do not know. Oh. Showmaster seems to be giving into refund requests now, but you think they killed their business themselves now. I bet the Comic-Con side of their business isn't, they are feeling no echo from this, but the licensed show side might be. Well, Paramount Plus would have to give Reed Pop a license for Europe, but that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing that would have to come out. Cairo, what are you saying here? The P-47 Portal Force Minicon all year long has never been canceled when people had their hotels and flights booked already. That's true. That's true. No Portal 47 event has ever left anyone hanging with your hotel and airfare. Uneatable. Absolutely true. Jason, could all the Wrath of Khan 40th anniversary merch and Fathom event, plus the nods to Khan and Picard Strange New Worlds, be a market test for a new Khan series? Well, they have a script sitting there, and it could be. It could be. This is this is perfect scripting. It's perfect timing. It's perfect promotional banter. If you want to see Nick's SETI Alpha 5 3-part series, like a 3-part, it's like an old school mini series. If you want to see that, go support the Fathom events with the Con of Wrath. Parrots Mark. Okay. Hi, Adam. Good to see you. Yay. Where's our Strange New Worlds companion? I don't know. I have mine. She's in there watching it every week now. Strange New Worlds in retirement, but Strange New Worlds has brought somebody back to the Star Trek TV weekly and watching reruns over and over. That's something to be said. No, you won't have a companion until there's at least a few seasons down, and it makes it worthwhile to do a book. But yes, I'll raise my hand. Okay. This was local in Germany, Rose. MCon, got autographs, saw lots of stars. Great. Good for you. Good for you. Busy week with a lot of new shows. That's very true. But SNW is still hanging in on the Parrots. Absolutely. Absolutely. They had to do refunds, Susan says. talking about Showmasters, because it was in their own terms and conditions about refunds. They would have been sued left, right, and center if they hadn't given in. Yeah. Could be they've applied for a trademark for SETI Alpha 5 in April of this year. This is the third attempt at trying to get one. Thank you for that, Tobias. I have to, what can we do here? I hate it when I can't do, okay, boom. Oh, that'll never work, but we'll see. We will see. Doesn't work. Okay. Yes, the Con of Wrath, or the SETI Alpha 5, was announced as rumors when they first announced Discovery, or actually when Alex first did his development deal and they talked about more series coming. That was one of the 3 or 4 projects that was being talked about. I don't know, Jason. I don't know. My understanding was that the Section 31 storyline, it might have to be at the front of the back, but the storyline is basically on the planet. You start off with Marla, and when she dies, and the planet and 6 blows up, and yada yada. Oh, FedCon is this weekend. Good luck, Cairo. Make sure and let everybody know. Feel free to pilfer anything from my site about the offers for all those Germans that are traveling, eager to get to the States. Let's see. In light of Star Wars casting more animated characters in live action, who would I like to see play the Lower Decks crew? Well, I think Tawny and I've gone blank on Boimler's actual actor name. We had too many series, too many new characters and actors all at once. Somebody yell it out. I can see most of them being able to play themselves. Maybe Noel. I mean, they were on stage. They didn't look too bad on stage. Oh, this is good to know. This is good to know, Christoph. For people who had actual holidays planned around this, that the Riker's Beard, USS Riker's Beard, sorry, this is hidden. What you can't see, you're going to take your 3 extra days in the UK, and the USS Riker's Beard Club is working on a little replacement get-together in their corner of England. Thank you, Christoph, for being my marker. Oh, Jared. Since before your sunburn hot in space, I've awaited a magazine question. What canon aspects of Strange New Worlds originated in tie-in fiction? Well, Brickers. Oh, wait, that's something about Mbenga and the daughter. I don't know. I've seen some of the chatter fly by. I've literally not had time to dig too deeply unless I could. Una and Chin Riley, the name, and being I keep wanting to say Lysepian. Illyrian. There's that. I don't know how much childhood background for Uhura was in because there's been eras. There was the 80s era, and then the 90s and the aughts, and what's happened with the really tight stuff since Enterprise that all went out the window except for what didn't. Jennifer, it was great to finally meet me Saturday. Yay! Yes. Glad you did. I'm trying to. Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you for coming by. It was. What did you think of? Fan Fusion? Anything to add to what I said? And thank you for. Okay, now I'm confused. Had you been with us here on Tuesdays before and we met, or did we meet and then you decided to show up here? So forgive me if I'm blurring, Jennifer, but it's good to thank you for doing both. So we're not writing into the chat. Apparently not. Hey, Daniel. Just got home. Little Danny just graduated from kindergarten. Yay! So I took him to one of the local comic book shops and just picked up a Star Trek comic where they are all rendered as Archie character. Oh, that's fun. Does anybody have a Jughead crown on? Which era? Are we talking Kirk? Are we talking... If Kirk is Archie and Spock is Jughead, and I don't know. I'm going to go there. There you go. They looked good in Chicago, and they've done actual stage work. Some voice people have a face suited for radio, as they used to say, but there you go. And Shaq's by Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, DST Germany is still a thing, supposedly, apparently. Yes, they were designed in part to look like their voice actors when they had the chance to do that. Oh my gosh. Hey, Ed. Debbie and you enjoyed brainstorming wedding vows idea at STOV. Yes, Ed. As soon as I get settled, I was going to try to shoot an email to the creation folks. TTLers, Ed and Debbie want to do their 25th anniversary vow renewals at STLV somewhere. So I think you've been public with that, so I'm not going to... Okay, wow. I guess we've gotten big enough to have some spam, so I'm going to just go right over that or see if I can. Boom. I haven't blocked someone in ages. Spam, though, at least. At least it wasn't porn or something racist. Just good old-fashioned spam, medical spam. Okay. Or do they call it DST Dort for Dortmund? After these 5 episodes of SNW, John says, no one will have seen the screeners, so it's all up in the air how good they are. No word of mouth. I'm very curious. John, my screener came over the weekend. I haven't watched it yet. It's just got 1 episode on it. The 5 was to get Strange New Worlds buzz and word of mouth out of the gate in a big way. I think it worked. But then again, I don't think they needed a lot of help. But pile on when you pile on. You only get 1 opening weekend or opening month. I'll have to try to watch it as soon as I can. No, I think DST Germany is same company. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Cairo. It is the Bliss episode. Oh, that's awesome. He had the idea in a dream and he pitched it. That's a very dreamy idea. Okay. There we go. Well, good on Garrett and Robbie for upping the stakes there. Because boy, Dominic and Connor's pod is having Rick and then Brannon. Got it. Obviously, we have many Delta Flyer patrons here. Yes, Bliss was a very cool show. Very off Wonder how the Trek Rat Pack will be at FedCon because Jeff is not there. I don't know. Here you go, Brits. Thank you, Glenn. BBC Radio 3. BBC Radio 3 will host Star Trek Special as its next round of cinema. Speaking of Germany and cons, since we're so damn global, FedCon number 30 is happening this week in Bonn. Yes. The DS9 Rat Pack by Brent and Johnny's Morning Show. Spiner and Frakes. That will be interesting. Prediction: we'll see some Gorn by the finale. We will, but they won't. Maybe. AKA the Romulans in season 4 Enterprise. Got you. It's a prediction. Totally a prediction. Well, they won't stage it. If they can't, if it's not going to be good. And, the core of I'm going to say that. The core, Casey and Vaughn are in the middle of that. They'll miss Jeff. You remember the name Irving Lazar because he was the dude Roddenberry spooked wearing the policeman uniform. Duralta, you've got this seems vaguely familiar, but you'll have to. Oh, right. I do remember this now. Yeah, the place and time, but I do remember the jokesters. Those jokesters. Hey Rose. Hey Top Chat. Or Larry, can you please tell me your thoughts of my post-Saturday MCon? I would really appreciate people's opinions. I don't my opinion of your post-Saturday MCon. I don't know anything about it or see it, Rose. Sorry. Is there a rate limit on commenting in Facebook? Are you writing things you shouldn't? Fine with me. I'm not about to go ask what's his face. You're waiting for all the merchandising. I know. Where the real money from the series is made. Right. Okay, and once again, it's another blocked medical thing. Yay. Boom. Murph is a CrossFit team. Yeah. Yes. Got that. Thank you, Galen. We got that. Garrett and Robbie did one with yes. And the German Wikipedia entry concerning the Rat Pack, Irvin Lazar is named. Okay, I will look it up. He was not a performer though. And I looked at his bio on Wikipedia, didn't see anything about Rat Pack, so I guess I should have gone inverse, not obverse or whatever. We all spend our adult lives chasing after the excitement of a scholastic book fair. Did I miss the context for this, Jared? Maybe we need a Wrath of DST. Did I see any meteorites last night? I think the meteor storm was a bust. John, I drove 6 hours plus an extra hour because traffic was insane by the desert cities. It took an hour longer at 5 in the afternoon. So I got home and crashed and said hi to my wife and unpacked last night. So no, I did not. Meteors out in the dark in the desert might have been fine, even with the glow of Phoenix. Okay. Chapter 42 here. I have to see it again. Yes, Melanie, everything is rising again. Yeah, it's hard for me to see them going up to those spikes, but still lots of people can be affected. And I am not about to see what long COVID looks like in 15 years. Frank, you saying hi is adding to the conversation. But thank you. Good to see you, sir. You lost your title as the last Trekland Treks tour patron, though. I've done 2 since the last month. How is Max Grodenchek's German? I don't know. Are you going to include his Austrian? Ooh, John X. They caught COVID a second time, but the strains are weaker. Right. Jared. It's 500 times better being a Trekkie in the UK than being a Trekkie in Colombia. Just saying. Yes, you had personal experience recently. You feel bad for the Oklahoma fans? Did I miss something? Oh. UK. The Oklahoma fans are some of the coolest people in Oklahoma. Yes. It's always bad to right. Well, I've been wondering about a third booster because they supposedly have a 4-month effectiveness rate before they start to fade. Yes. Star Trek Day in NYC, the end. Well, fine, Zahir, fine. Just be a pooper party. Yeah. Wait, what? What? Shelby County, Tennessee has an official Star Trek Day on April 8th. County Commissioner enacted. Why April 8th? Why not the 4th and 5th? That's interesting. Who's related to April 8th that I'm not thinking? Okay. Gas is $6 a gallon, U.S. average. Yes, and it was great to get it at $4.15 and $4.57 at Quartzsite in Arizona. $4.50 even in town. It's always higher here because we have the additives to keep pollution down. Oh, Anne Marie, she had the title of only someone named Marina can be named Con Queen. And Marina Sirtis used to call herself the Con Queen because she would say, I whore myself out to everybody for a con. So I think it fits in the DNA. I've called Marina the Con Queen for ages, as long as Marina Sirtis isn't angry about being usurped. I think she slacked off a little bit since the 80s and 90s and aughts. Okay. What now? Personal threats against some of you from other Trek fans about what? About the DST cancellation? Oh, yeah. Okay, some more inside ball on FedCon. I'm going to let you guys hash it out. Well, Christoph, some people are stupid in a lot of ways, and they can't distinguish between lots of things and lots of other things. Yes, like between criminals and honest people, for starters. Yeah, what did I say? Season 2 of Strange New Worlds. Did I say it wasn't? Did I leave a question? Something? You're smiling. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Strange New World Season 2 is going to be even bigger than Season 1, from things I've heard. They better film the con books. Okay. Thank you, Jack. Thank you. I'll never make that mistake again. I was doing really good until I just blanked a minute ago. I haven't said it 47 million times yet. Jack Quaid. Yes. Okay. DST in Germany, there's only 9 guests listed. They may be waiting on schedules. The Hospital series spinoff was made a book series? Okay. Do I think we'll see a 4th Kelvin large unidentifiable reptile? Hello? Hey, Lur. You've been with us before, right, Lur? L-U-R? Okay. Do you think we'll be seeing a 4th Kelvin time limit? I think so, apparently. You can't stop it because, that lackadaisical focus group said, yeah, sure, why not? But I knew this year was going to be a tight fit because everybody was already so busy, including Chris Pine. Not that I follow the Kelvin people that closely, but it was a big splash that Chris Pine was directing, and it was going to be into the early fall, and he would have to, as a director, he would be involved in the post, and didn't know how in the world they were going to try to film a Star Trek overlapping that, unless they moved his scenes to the end, and he's not in group scenes. That's crazy. It's crazy talk. Babinga was in the book series. Well, we'll see how that holds up. Hope Ship. Thank you. Thank you, John X, for the link. Boom. Looks like it's Kirk era. Thank you, Daniel. Oh, hi, Jennifer. Never been here before, new today. Yay! PFF was great for me. Happy to see all the Starfleet uniforms through the days, through the tech panels and scheduling were great. Wish you could have stayed for the mixer. One day we can discuss new Trek fans via the JJ movies. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here. Look, something actually worked. Instead of meeting online and seeing live, we actually met live and are talking online again. What a new concept. Did that exist before 2020? Oh, yeah, it did. It was just kind of suspended for 2 years because no one met live. But I'm glad you found your way here, and hope you're enjoying the chat and the community, and maybe having Timba his eyes widened. Yes. As Archie characters or as characters from Riverdale? Oh, yeah, the series. Are screeners still sent out on physical media still? These are coming as links to an online site, which actually is much better control than it used to be, technically. Oh, okay, Rose. Well, I didn't see it. I'll have to see it later. And there you go. Boom, they get a code for P+. There you go. There you go, Tobias. Everybody, welcoming you aboard the Tuesday chat of a live show. So there you go. We do have Delta Flyers have some top-notch guest interviews and appearances. Yes. Yeah, Marina, all these Johnny-come-latelys. But do they have the extras? Do they have the craft service food table people? No. They're only gonna say so much. I don't care if it's been 20 years. Let the pretty boys and pretty girls have their shows. Brandon has said he will do an open house some year for Portal, so we'll let him have it then. I have personal stuff I can pull on Brandon, so that will be a thing. Okay, I won't say anything else. At least Bill's Bliss dream was more harmless than James Cameron's Terminator dream. Very true. Very true. Dan Schroeder. Who's his face? Who are we talking about, Dan? And are you new? Hey, Marina, I think, yeah, merchandising has been out there. Merchandise, I know, has been out running around. This is what happens. One year, your Doctor Who convention had a pharmaceutical company because they bought a table just searching on doctor conventions. MCon, apparently it's a convention in Germany. This is the story. Yes. Who of you is Irving Lazar? That's true. See, it was vague. That was either in David Alexander's book. Yes. I think I was trying to find that bar for the Gene Roddenberry tour. See? Once in a database, always in a database. Christoph, sorry that you're all still getting medical crap. Let's see. Yes, the Morn actor lives in Germany too. David Allen Shepard. His wife is German. These Americans that met German fans at cons and wound up with them. Oh, that's 3. German or Austrian. That's 3 actors I know that have married German/Austrian, Germanic speaking fans. Not trying to ruin anybody's national pride there. The Con Princess. I'm just saying that I think Marina's slacked off a little bit these days. Okay. Well, yay, large unidentifiable reptile. Have we ever met live in person? Or is this purely an online relationship? And Fast Errand, yay, die, we're still here. Okay. Delta Flyers do not have the type of guests that Portal 47 has for sure, but they have really good guests for context for a single episode. That would be fun to do. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. They had Brannon after Rick. I'm going to get my claws back on Brannon in public again. I will. I might actually get Rick someday. I think Rick is wanting to be heard and not forgotten. Who is the 3rd actor married to a German-speaking partner? Oh, Robert Beltran. Yeah, I know, Di. I know. And so did about 40 other people. We just needed it to get bigger to justify the time. I love our community, but we just needed it to take off. And maybe if we'd hired a social media publicist or whatever, marketer manager to do it, we might have, but we were just a little crazed. Want to become famous? You know what? No, I'm going to just block your little butt. Alrighty, I think we're at the end of the chat, gang. Are we at the end of the chat? Well, I hope. Yes, it sounds like this chat is ending. as a throwback, I hope those of you that were with me, and it'll be on, obviously it'll be up on posted to YouTube, the first half. I hope you got a chuckle, a laugh, an insight, something worthwhile out of. It really did strike me how many. Maybe it's just I was rusty. I'm rusty at being at LiveCon still. Maybe it was a Comic-Con. It was the biggest Comic-Con that I'd been to. Well, I was at Salt Lake last year, and things were still a little wah. But it's the biggest Comic-Con I'd been to since the plethora of new Trek has premiered the last few months, since Discovery and New Picard and Prodigy premiered and Strange New premiered. And it's the first Comic-Con where I've seen the impact of a lot of new Star Trek maybe making a dent in the slice of the pie of the franchises at a Comic-Con. Just saying. And people getting back together for the first time in 2 or 3 years in certain markets. That said, I hope you enjoyed some of those thoughts that I had. I hope you're enjoying seeing Gorn ships, even if you're not seeing Gorns. And everybody's enjoying Strange New. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the perception that maybe this may be the most popular live action Trek since Name Your Poison. TNG, DS9, Voyager, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So thanks everybody for being with us today. Thanks again for all of our Patreons. Thanks so much. And if you want to jump in and check that out, all you got to do is go over to patreon.com/Trekland Live and check it out. A very simple system. Also, don't forget, our new Trek Files is up this week with the great Kerry O'Quinn. Oh my God, if you ever get a chance to sit and talk with him or hear him on a panel, talk about the glory days of Starlog, what the perceptions they had to fight. Talk about when geeks were in the closet. For them to have a business model and have to prove that 4 sci-fi magazines about media a year would sell. It was the year before Star Trek had barely exploded, and it was the year before Star Wars. But even then, it was an uphill battle. It's just a great reminder of how media's changed, but also just some of those insights and the folks he dealt with too. It's a fun visit. It's Kerry talking about Gene Roddenberry and all the other Star Trek folks he knew from the 70s and 80s and 90s. Wherever fine podcasts are caught, including our page on Facebook, right? I can't say enough. And also, if you are Vegas bound, consider coming in a day early and going out to the Valley of Fire with us. Wednesday, August 24th. It's the day before Trek Vegas at Bally. And of course, if you're going to be around the weekend before Trek Vegas, it's a great weekend. I need 6 people for a minimum. I have 4. Now we can go beyond that, but I need 2 more to make, and we've jumped out to 4. So we'll see how big the vehicle is that we'll need. We need 8 people for the day tour at Valley of Fire. The big tour that we will have next year, the 10-day tour, our West Coast away mission from July of 2023, which will be LA and San Fran, and have at least one celebrity every day who actually ties into the place we're visiting. That needs, we need 10 people at least, but we have to max at 18. So if you're thinking about that, make sure and sound off about it, okay? Otherwise, gang, it's Larry Nemechek on Twitter. And of course, it's Larry Nemechek's Trekland everywhere else. Please like and subscribe and share the YouTube as well as the Facebook and the Instagram. Alrighty? We will see everybody next week. Let's see what happens between now and then. Hopefully, I'll get caught up. I'm looking forward to going to SoonerCon. If you're anywhere in the lower plains states in the Southwest, SoonerCon's very much a trip in. It's growing every year. There's no overt Star Trek star this year, actor. The last one before shutdown, Nana was the guest. But there are everything. There's voice actors, anime people, comics people, legit sci-fi and art people from the old school side of the con. All the fan bases are represented, LARPing and gaming and you name it, arts, crafts, Etsy, cosplay. There's kids track. It's huge. It's right there in Norman off I-35. And I will be there, and I'll be getting an award. So I'm looking forward to that big time. And then we got the rest of the summer cons to come. That's it. That's it for today, Tuesday. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all the new folks that were on today. And hopefully we'll see you around. Check out the rest of Trekland at LarryNemechek.com. But hopefully we'll see you back on a Tuesday when you can make it again. And everywhere else where the Trekland way is the way. This is the way, the Trekland way. Should I trademark that? We're a Mandalorian? No. Okay. Everybody, listen, thanks for joining us. Thanks for jumping in the chat, being out there. Thanks for supporting everything I'm trying to do, the philosophy as well as the actual business models, and enjoying all the stuff as well. Till we meet again one way or the other, please, please, please stay healthy, do all the things, stay woke, check your sources, and Trek well, everybody.